I think it's live.
Hello and welcome you all to the special session of APEC Presents Global Water Management Conclave. Global Water Management Conclave is being organized by APEC Digital News Network in association with Ministry of Jal Shakti, the National Water Mission, and Namami Gange, along with various partners from state governments like Delhi Jal Board, MP Jal Nigam, Almora District Administration, Water Infrastructure Partner TCIPL, country partners, Netherlands, Israel, international supporting partner, USTDA, and supporting partners, as I was saying, like Innovative, Bar, WaterAid India, Aridyam, they all have joined us, and also the Hyderabad project, which will be represented by Kalpana Ramesh. We have come to a very important session of this conclave, and this session is all about rainwater harvesting and the game-changing initiative by National Water Mission Government of India. The name of the initiative is Catch the Rain, where it falls, when it falls. It's a very simple catch line, but very effective. And already this campaign has created an impact across India in state level, in rural level, in panchayat level. We can see various initiatives, various people, various NGOs, various stakeholders coming together with eminent personalities to create an awareness on catch the rain for rainwater harvesting. The end goal is making India water secure. So for this, I would like to invite Shri G. Ashok Kumar, Additional Secretary and Mission Director, National Water Mission, and one person who is driving the Catch the Rain campaign. G. Ashok Kumar, we welcome you. We also welcome Rajiv Ranjan Mishra, Director General Namami Gange, again a pioneering work being done in Namami Gange ecosystem. We have Sri Avinash Mishra, Advisor Water Niti Aayog, Government of India. We welcome Mr. Avinash Mishra. We have Mr. John Leeuwenberg, Global Product Manager and Commercial Director, Water Office, Real World Systems, Netherlands. We welcome Mr. John. We already had Netherlands perspective in the morning. We had the Netherlands Water Ambassador in the inaugural. Then we had two companies in earlier sessions. And we also have a special guest, Kalpana Ramesh, the rainwater, the water warrior of the Rainwater Project Hyderabad. She is doing wonderful job in Hyderabad and will be launching a special initiative, Blue Hyderabad, in this session. With this, I take this baton to Mr. G. Ashok Kumar, Additional Secretary and Mission Director, National Water Mission, Government of India, Jal Shakti Ministry. Over to you, Sri G. Ashok Kumar.
Thank you, Sami. Uh, uh, it's a very interesting session we are planning today. I congratulate APEC on organizing this global water conclave with contemporary water related topics, including national and international participants, and that too at probably 1 month of within 1 month of their formation. It's a great effort by these dedicated people of in the APEC, who has actually put together all the people involved and come out with such a short time global conclave. So wonderful to be working with them. They are also our lead partner in the Catch the Rain campaign, and we have been doing extremely well together and reaching out to many people far across the country, various officials, non-officials, water warriors, and people who are experts in water to join us in the movement of the Catch the Rain. A word about National Water Mission, because people who have been non-initiated to the National Water Mission. National Water Mission is a mission which was formed as a part of the National Action Plan for Climate Change. It was formed in 2011, and then in the last couple of years, we have done a lot of works in various sectors, but in the last maybe a year or so, its presence is being felt. So we had done a lot of works in the water, various issues related to water, demand management side, and as well as the supply side. we had done a lot of studies. We are doing a lot of studies in the basin sectors, or to look at the water usage efficiency in agriculture and industry. We're also doing studies on the impact of climate change and water. We have in the last in the last 1 year, initiated some very innovative things, like the first time we gave the National Water Mission Awards to about 22 people, individuals, and organizations who are doing work in the water sector, and also came out with a very interesting concept of water talks. In the last 1 year, we have 1 year we have done almost 17 talks, starting from March 22nd, 2019. 17 water talks delivered by eminent people who are in the field of water, academicians as well as theoreticians, as well as activists and participants and water warriors. They have given water talks physically almost 12 times, and then in the last three or four sessions, we have it was a virtual water talk, and that has actually reached beyond what we had initially thought. In the last water talk, we had almost 39,000 participants attending the water talk. So it's a very interesting growth which we had in the water talk sector. And similarly, we had a campaign called Sahi Fasal, which in Hindi means the right crop. This is to address the issues of crops which are water intensive, and we wanted to take up a diversion of crops and better irrigation practices in areas where which are water stressed. So that campaign, we took it up from November last year. We went to Punjab, which is like a rice bowl of India, but then it has its own problems because of the over exploitation of water. So we started the campaign in Amritsar, and then went to Aurangabad and Haryana and other places where there's a lot of water stress is being felt because of the type of crops they are growing. And the best thing is that our campaign has actually resulted in some good results. We had been following up with the district administration and requesting them to incentivize diversion of crops, and that's what has happened. So that is one thing which we succeeded. And then now we came on to the Catch the Rain campaign, which is on the supply side. Mostly our campaigns were on the demand side management, and this is the first time we are moving on to a supply side management campaign, where we are looking at catching and storing the rainwater. So I take another 5 or 6 minutes because I know a lot of people, eminent people, are there to speak. So I just want to introduce the subject of this Catch the Rain. Catch the Rain is the latest of the campaign of the National Water Mission. It is to nudge stakeholders and the states to catch the rain where it falls, when it falls. Then it is also to look at uh, nudging the people to create rainwater harvesting structures appropriate to the climatic and soil conditions, because the geographical condition of India varies from across the state. The subsoil conditions vary, the climatic conditions vary. So one structure will not be able to fit everywhere. So we are looking at appropriate structures suited to the climatic conditions, as well as climatic subject to the soil conditions, to be constructed or to be developed or to be created in across the country to catch the rain where it falls, when it falls, with active participation of the people. So all these terms are very important. We want people's participation, and we are looking at it as a decentralized solution, because water rain falls all over the place, all over the country. In India, the rain has a very temporal and spatial variation. We get rainfall in the next 3-4 months, and there are places we don't get rain at all, like Rajasthan deserts. We have less rainfall, and we have also a place where we get the maximum rainfall in the world. So there's a wide variation of rainfall pattern in the country, and also there's a time variation, timeline variations of when we get rainfalls. some parts get rainfall during the monsoon season, and some parts in the south get rainfall during the retreating monsoon. So there is a little variation in the timeline also. Keeping these in mind, our campaign says catch the rain where it falls, when it falls, using appropriate rainwater harvesting structures. Now, what is basically, as I said before, it is a decentralized water storing system which we are looking at it. Yes, we have. India has built a lot of dams. We have almost more than 5,000, 6,000 major dams. We have thousands of minor dams and check dams which are used to store water. But this time we are looking at a structure which would be small. It's like the reverse of crowdfunding. We everybody is aware and know the term crowdfunding. Everybody that means a lot of people put little amount, and then it becomes a huge amount. So that's crowdfunding or crowdsourcing. So now I am looking at another term now. It's crowd saving, the other way around. Huge volume of water which is collected in one place, causing havoc like urban flooding. I want that huge volume of water to be brought back and made as small water points at the source, where it's like you can imagine playing a video reverse. You have a large collection of water which had created so much havoc in areas. Play it backwards. You can see the water going backwards and backwards and backwards, and at the source of rain. And if you can tap the water there, this huge accumulation of water which was creating havoc would not have happened. We have a very large number of instances of urban flooding which is coming up in these years because of the various issues associated with the lack of storage of water. That's why I'll come to it. So in the catch rain, we are looking at crowd saving, and also we are trying to address twin issues. One is of the water replenishment, and another is of the urban flooding. These are two issues we are looking at it. In this campaign, we are exhorting people to go for rooftop rainwater harvesting structures in all their buildings, whether it is school buildings, whether it's government buildings, whether it is house, whether it is corporate offices, whether it is sports complexes, or whatever it is. We want rooftop rainwater harvesting structures to be in place, and the water in the compound should be impounded and stored in that compound itself, so that not a single drop of water comes out. In this, when I was discussing this, one of the panelists earlier discussions, they were telling that if you impound all the water bodies will not get water. We have a lot of open areas. Otherwise, the water falling there in the roads, all these things will go to the water bodies. And the issue associated with urban bodies, urban flooding, is that because these water bodies which we are fighting for now, most of them are encroached upon. Their volume has come down because of the depositing of debris and silts, and many of its pathways are encroached upon so that the water doesn't come there. All these are being addressed in the Catch the Rain campaign. We said that rooftop rainwater harvesting structures in the buildings, rainwater harvesting structures in the compounds, and enumerate all the water bodies in the area and check up whether there's encroachments. If there are encroachments, remove the encroachments on the channels which bring water to the these river bodies. All these things, and a revival of small rivulets or streams which are now died out because of the because they didn't have water. So this is the main theme of the Catch the Rain, and also the first point which we are addressing is the shortage of water, or the going down of water table in many of the areas of the country. We have been drawing out of a lot of water from the underground aquifer. India has very large number of bore wells and tube wells. Statistically speaking, India draws more groundwater than China and USA put together. And our major irrigation source in the country now is groundwater irrigation. So water table has gone down drastically, and there is need to replenish it. So the first objective which we are trying to meet with the Catch the Rain campaign is to replenish the water which we are drawn from the underground. As you all know, there are no other source of water for India. A very small area of India gets the snow melted water, but most of the area in India gets water from the rains. So it is there are no other source of water, and water cannot be created. So we have to have the rain caught and stored to replenish the water which we have been exploiting over and over the years from the groundwater. So that's the first aspect of it. Second is the urban issue of urban flooding. Many of the cities in the last 10-15 years, we find recurring occurrences of urban flooding. People in the low-lying areas are getting submerged. They have problems of waterlogging in many of the areas. City life gets disrupted, and in Delhi, if you remember, a few days back, unfortunate incident occurring near the Minto Bridge, where a person passed away, was drowned in the water which was in the road. So these are issues which are now coming up with amazing regularity, mainly because of of the fact that we are pushing the water from our compounds to the roads. A lot of concretization has come up. Rapid urbanization has made compaction of water, which actually increases or reduces the permeability of the water. So this water actually flows over, and statistically speaking, again, as a 1 acre of normal ground, and if you compare that with a paved ground, the water flowing from that area of the paved area would be 16 times more than the water which will flow out from a regular soft land, and the velocity with which it moves also would be much higher. So, in both in terms of quantity and the speed with which the water runs off from that area increases when this type of urbanization happens, and this type of paving, concretization and paving happens, and that is very rampant in our cities. In most of the cities, we have concretized the pavements. We have lot of roads coming up, and even the stormwater drains are made of boxes. So all the water which is coming in from the compounds and all gets onto the road. The roads get damaged. There's a lot of waterlogging. Houses get damaged. Properties get damaged. All these issues associated with urban flooding can be addressed if you catch the rain and store where it falls. So that is one second issue which we are addressing. The water replenishment of water in the groundwater, in the ground aquifers, and the urban flooding. These are two issues which we are parallelly trying to address in the water catch the rain campaign. And we have very short time period. We have only time of another 2 or 3 months to get the act together and get the water caught from the rain. Because after 3 months, there won't be any rain. So we have to act immediately. And very happy that the APAC has been proactive in getting our message across the country. We have discussions with the various authorities who are handling water in various water sector, the district magistrates and judges and all other people who are working in the water sector to take this action. Our campaign has been endorsed by the Vice President of India, beginning from the Vice President of India down to very small water activists, big sportsmen, people on various stratas of life have now come forward to endorse our campaign. So we are on the right track and hope that our campaign would succeed and will increase the water available in the country. So I once again thank APEC for organizing this conference and also giving a platform to talk to people about the National Water Missions campaign. And I hope that we all will work together to catch the rain. Thank you.
Thanks, G. Ashok, Additional Secretary and Mission Director, National Water Mission, Minister of Jal Shakti, Government of India. It's also an honor for APEC Digital News Network to collaborate with the National Water Mission for Catch the Rain campaign to ensure that the message of Catch the Rain goes to every nook and corner of the country, the digital mode. And I'm sure that the campaign which has been initiated, and even during lockdown and all those things, this campaign has gained momentum, not only at top level, but from top to mid to lower level of all the sphere of society. And as you rightly said, that we already have got message, and now it's time that school, colleges, NGOs, citizens all come together and to make Kazdarin campaign a success. Thanks a lot, Mr. G. Ashok. With this, I move to another senior officer, Rajiv Ranjan Mishra, a senior bureaucrat, policymaker with vast experience, who is the Director General of Namami Gange Government of India. We welcome Shri Rajiv Ranjan Mishra.
Thank you. It was so nice hearing some of your mute khata diya hai na? Are you able to hear? Okay.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really very nice to be with all of you. And as we have technology and then the Facebook Live was going on, I could peep through some of the earlier sessions also during the day whenever I was getting some time. As you know, these are the times when we are into so many webinars. So right in the morning, today I was talking to another group. And that's very relevant to what we are discussing today about the rainwater harvesting, because this was a very field level group. These are the people, some individuals, some citizens, students, some youth, some activists who are basically trying to take up a campaign. They call it Pani Re Pani, basically water, oh water. So a kind of, and then they wanted to actually go around a smaller rivers. I'm talking of Bihar. So they were actually planning to go around to some of the small rivers and then actually talk to people and then really motivate them for water conservation and also rainwater. So it was very nice, and they wanted to know about the Namami Gange and this being part of the Ganga basin, or the important state of Ganga basin. So they have been requesting, and it was very nice to see the enthusiasm of the younger people at the field level. I think somehow there is a lot of positivity at this point of time, and perhaps we need to really build upon that kind of motivation, that kind of good expectation that things will happen. As you people must have seen, and first of all, let me compliment APSA and also National Water Mission for organizing such a nice seminar. Right from morning, if you look the sessions and look at the speeches, look at the discussions, I think we have been able to cover a very large, very wide gambit of water management, whether it is policy making, governance, technology, city level initiatives. We had lots of very interesting stories from Madhya Pradesh, from Delhi, from Puducherry, and so many other places. Some of the other organizations, some NGOs, they told quite a lot. And in fact, I was thinking I will be told to speak later so that I could have heard from Hyderabad the story also. But suddenly I have been asked to speak. So, but anyway, I will stay and hear them also. So I think I will take, if you give me a few minutes, I will just try to tell you that how Ganga rejuvenation is so much linked with rainwater harvesting. Of course, I can speak upon the general water management, but I will get into so much of such a wider area because you have already heard quite a lot on this. But few things, what we are looking at, and I was listening to Susil in the previous session. Very few people from industry have come and spoken. So I think he was one of those. Susil Agrawal was speaking, and he had a lot of concerns about delays in government system, the DPRs, and then our L1 approach. A lot of those concerns were given. Maybe very quickly, I will also give my reaction to that. Susil and he mentioned about Mr. UP Singh. I am also from the same college. So Susil is also one of my classmates from the college days. So it's very nice to see him here. It was very nice. See, when we look at a kind of river rejuvenation program, and especially Ganga program, we are primarily looking at a few big category of interventions. First, of course, is the pollution abatement area, which very typically we call Nirmal Dhara and those things. So there is a lot to be done there. And perhaps what Susil was talking was more into that bracket. So very quickly, I will summarize in 2-3 sentences. When we looked at this pollution abatement, because always we confuse between cleaning and rejuvenation. We always say Ganga cleaning. Actually, what we are talking or aiming at is Ganga rejuvenation, not just cleaning. So that's much bigger than just cleaning something. But cleaning is an essential part of rejuvenating. Unless you clean up, things will not happen. So pollution quality of water has to be improved. So we looked at lots of our previous STPs which were constructed, and Ashok also is aware. He was with us till very recently. the maintenance is a major problem. Sustainability of all those investment is a big question mark. So what we tried to do in this mission is first include the long-term O&M, 15-year O&M as part of the project cost, and later on we change into the hybrid annuity mode. The meaning is, which secretary also must have told in the morning, that we are not going to pay for construction, we are going to pay for the performance, because private person's investment will be held up. He has to recover 60% of investment, he has to perform. So that's a very good thing. It's good for the good contractors, the people who want to really do business effectively and then make money in the process while doing good job. Then we tried to do consolidation. That's where again that becomes important for water sector. We tried to consolidate for the city-wide sanitation in liquid waste management, and that's where the one city one operator concept came. So we tried to consolidate as far as sewerage sector is concerned. We are further extending it by also including fecal sludge management, because that's also for last 2-3 years there is a lot of talk about that. So that will be, we can actually do co-treatment, and there are various things. This is not the session to get into that. So that's happening, and ultimately we have to move from that side to integrated urban water management. So that's the direction which we have to do, because conventional way, the way water is treated in an urban setting, we have different way of looking at drinking water, wastewater, storm water. Different organizations, different people deal with it. Unless we look at all of them, storm water and rainwater, perhaps things will not improve. So that's the thinking. Avinash is here, my good friend Avinash is from Niti Aayog is here. When we did this hybrid annuity, and then Niti Aayog took it up, and then actually they are now trying to really mainstream into and take it beyond Ganga and take it to the entire country, all urban sector, that people should actually look at this kind of approach for doing it. So that's one sector. The other big part of river rejuvenation or water management in the country is basically improving flow in the river. When I say river, in our parlance, we mean river means all water body, because they are all integrated. So if it is Ganga river, the floodplain, wetlands are included, other water bodies are included, springs are included, all put together make a system. And this is where we have to actually understand that river is not just a kind of source of water. It's a kind of whole lot of system with tributaries, with the smaller rivers, with wetlands, with springs, everything put together becomes a source of water. So a lot of discussion about Jal Jeevan Mission happened, the drinking water supply to really take it to the whole household. And that's why in that mission also, they are giving a lot of priority to the source sustenance. You have to assure that source is there. You have to actually bring the source, and source has to be of clean water, and it should be enough. So quantity and quality of source is also important. When we were looking at, so here, flow, wetland, all those things I told, we have to, and Ashok told about demand side management in agriculture. That's again very important. Now looking at all those things, rainwater becomes a very important source. And I will like to now come to the rainwater. And then the third thing is basically improving public connect. How you can bring people and river connect stronger, how you can really connect people with water. And I really like someone told in the previous session perhaps that the behavior has to change, that instead of thinking about your water, or I will say sarkari water or public water or government water, you have to think like our water. So that's the challenge, and that's where perhaps we have to work and then bring that particular thing in our mind. So when we look at now rainwater harvesting, this is also a very important source we have to look at for bringing flow in the river. When we say Nirmal Ganga and Aviral Ganga, so for Aviralta, for improving good continuous flow, perhaps it's very important to look at rainwater as our source. It's very important for most of the rivers. See, what are the source of water for a river? For some of the rivers like Ganga, we also have glacial source, but there are challenges due to climate change there also. So that's one. Second is basically you get some sort of the base flow from the groundwater in the lean season and then the rainy season. Now all these things, three things are related. So rainwater, again, if you look at our context, perhaps we have a kind of serious problem because the number of days are getting reduced, or even if the total quantity of rain has not come down drastically, but it has become very erratic. Unlike European countries or European rivers, where you are actually some rain is there year round, you have only limited to something like 40-45 days of good rain. So you have to do everything to see that this rain does not go waste. And different kinds of programs will be needed. Now we will have to have our strategy in two ways. One thing is looking at the kind of rural area, and one looking at urban area. The challenges are different, opportunities are also different. So coming to rural area or urban area all put together, in our mission in Namami Gange, we are actually looking at a kind of integrated river basin management. So you are looking at all the cities, all the towns, all the forest, all the natural area as the river flows for 2,500 kilometers. And then you look at what are the chances of improving flow and rainwater, because now we'll talk mostly about the rainwater and how rainwater harvesting can really improve. So when you look at the rural setting, look at the integrated river basin management, you have to look at what are the places, you have to really engage with farmers, because agriculture is the mainstay in the rural area, and you have to really engage with the farmers. There could be a possibility of development of farm ponds where they can store this rainwater. There could be a possibility of good water harvesting structures, check dams. But again, why I am saying good, because it's very important to be very cautious about where you construct and what kind of check dam you construct. Because sometimes if we do not do it properly, perhaps it can lead to more of a problem in water harvesting. So, but yes, certainly that is something which is very much required to look at. Then ultimately in the rural area also you have to look at what are the places you can really recharge water, and that is where the floodplain. So all along river, if you do a catchment plantation, if you do good catchment plantation, and that will also help in actually storing and stopping the rainwater. So that kind of good plant catchment plantations will be done. We have done that kind of thing with the help of Forest Research Institute. Actually Ganga was the first example where we did the entire DPR made for 2,500 kilometers, what kind of plantation, what kind of catchment area treatment has to be done. And we are trying to do bit by bit the help of a state forest department and that. So I think that's another sector where we have to engage, the forest office, forest sector, that what they can do in the forest to actually catch the rain. If you listen to, there is one Mr. Anil Joshi, he got Padma Bhushan. If you go, he's in Dehradun, I have gone. Many places he says that basically all along forest, if you can just dig some pits, and if the soil gets moist because of the rainwater harvesting, that moisture will actually rejuvenate the forest. You don't have to do so much of, if you work very well with some good planning and engaging with the stakeholders, this 40-45 days will actually rejuvenate your forest, old forest, and so much of new forestry will come on its own instead of really working so hard for that. So I think there is tremendous possibility of planning and scaling up in the rural area, in the forest area, as far as rainwater harvesting is concerned. The aquifer recharge is very important, and unfortunately, we really do not understand aquifer. Some people, in this kind of group, people will understand, but commonly we really do not understand what is happening to our groundwater. Groundwater, Ashok very rightly said, India is a country which utilizes maximum groundwater better than more than any country. In fact, he very rightly said America and USA and China put together do not use so much of groundwater that we use. At what cost? Till what time it will last? See, aquifer will have to use some groundwater because nature has capacity to fill up. But if you keep on taking from your house so more and more resources, and you do not generate that much of resources, you will get into a kind of empty space. So that's what is happening. In fact, morning I was talking to some of the people. I am also talking to some of the district collectors in rotation, and Bihar people I will be talking on Monday, District Ganga Committee. So many districts on the bank of Ganga are getting depleted groundwater. They were selected in the Jal Shakti Abhiyan last year. Actually, they should not have been. With such a kind of perennial river, with such a kind of flowing river in the vicinity, they are getting depleted groundwater. So that's something, a cause of a concern. And then rainwater can really be very, very useful thing for us to do that. But we also will have to protect floodplains. We'll have to respect floodplains, because floodplain is a kind of floodplain and wetlands. We'll have to really rejuvenate. So along with rainwater harvesting, we'll have to go in with that. So what we have to do is, some of the major wetlands we have identified, we'll have to work with the stakeholders there. Last year and this year also we are doing with the Wildlife Institute of India. Ashok is aware of that, so that they clean up the inlet and outlet of these wetlands, and so the rainwater could really be stored there. So actually it all has to go in a very strategic fashion with a kind of very nice planning, so that all the people contribute, and you have to identify NGOs, activists, school people, teachers, everyone to join hand. There is one district at Baroda. Recently, Honorable Prime Minister also mentioned that the DM took interest, and all the schools have got rainwater harvesting structure. All the schools in the districts, you can understand, hundreds of schools, as a kind of campaign, as a kind of passion, this whole thing was done. So I think there is a lot of things to do. Before I close, I will come to some urban setting and give you some examples. What are the challenges? See, all the building bylaws, if you look at, I think I was in Urban Development Ministry, and model building bylaw was prepared in 2015, 2016. It has so much of guidelines about rainwater harvesting. It is mandatory. Building plan has to be approved with only these things. So many cities have done quite well about that. But again, there are a lot of capacity challenges. Even if you do it, even if you are willing to do it, you may not be having enough know-how. Suppose I want to, there are so many government houses, government colonies which do not have rainwater harvesting provision. And suppose anyone wants to go, who will go and help you? Who will give you? So we'll have to also have a strategy to really develop that kind of capability where actually you can dial a person and he comes and fits you. I mean, that service sector is improving, but yes, we'll have to further perhaps improve in that direction. So getting into all those urban setting, we also need to look at, that's where the integrated urban water management comes. And in from our side, when last time National Ganga Council meeting took place, and I think Ashok was with us at that time, and he will recollect, Honorable Prime Minister very clearly was saying about the river cities. We have to have a different way of planning them. We have to look at them in a very different way and look at not only one city, look at a kind of regional perspective on the bank of river, 3, 4, 5 cities put together, and then plan for them that how the water comes. So many speakers have talked about water audit, water balance, and then we have to look at all of them. See, when you look at, let's say, a city and you are receiving a river or other water sources, how you are going to leave them? Because ultimately, if you look at it and think about it, all of us live in downstream of something. So I think we have to be very cautious that we cannot simply throw certain things and leave the something down to go to docks. So we have to look at when we look at the planning for the city, what is happening in the conventional way of thinking, we are not really differentiating between different types of source of water. So everywhere we have a tendency to use fresh water, and especially I am telling you in the Ganga basin, because you see plenty of water, unlike South and maybe Western India, where perhaps there is more scarcity and then they are more concerned. So what happens, everywhere we use fresh water. So we have to actually, some expert was talking previously about the reuse quite a lot. So we will have to look at what are our sources of water. One is of course the whatever catchment area water you get, one what water you draw from the river for the city, one what the kind of water you can generate by reusing after treatment. So I think that's a source, and most important source which we neglect is basically rainwater or storm water. Most of the time, urban managers are happy that rain has come. Let us somehow get rid of this rainwater, let it flow, and our streets and roads should be clean and it's a kind of nuisance. Instead of really considering it like a real resource, in fact, you can catch a lot of it, and then some of the water which is not really getting enough water, and we can think of putting it some of those places and rejuvenate some of those things. Delhi Jal Board actually is trying to use some of the reused water into some of the tanks, etc. in Delhi. So I think some activity is happening. Last year in Yamuna, we tried to actually develop some pits in the floodplain and try to store some rainwater as a kind of experimental basis were done on the bank of this place. So I think these are some of the things we have to do. And I will just like to refer the other day we had a kind of discussion, another webinar on the future of the cities, and then that's where actually I knew, and in this conference also we have so many people from Netherlands, and Indo-Dutch Ganga partnership is also there. We have a lot of very close relationship with Netherlands technologically also, and on the policy matter also. See, what they did, I think if you can see that something like this can be done in India, would have been done in India also. In rooftop water harvesting thing has to be scaled up. It has to be scaled up to big institutions. And Ashok is very rightly trying to write to so many defense establishments and other people that you have huge area. Why don't you use that area to store this rainwater? Similarly, we have to also look at it commercially. In case of Amsterdam airport, actually they did a very nice balance about what exactly, how much water they require and how much of it is non-potable in nature. I mean, other than drinking water. And then they did a kind of calculation scientifically that how much of this non-potable water can be met by rainwater harvesting. And as a result of that, they developed a system. They almost reduced their water bill by 50-60%. So it is very much possible that the entire water, rainwater, whatever comes, they are storing it and using it for the non-potable purpose. So similarly, we have to pick up some of these big institutions, some of these big establishments. Scientifically, commercial viability has to be assessed, and then these kind of things have to be done. Once people will start looking at it as a kind of money proposition, value proposition, automatically economy will also start driving this whole development. So I think there could be, this is a kind of growing area. We are in the initial phase of learning. If you look at Melbourne had done quite a lot of rainwater because they are drought prone area. So I think the way, all these cities, they have really gone for the integrated urban water management. And what we are trying to learn from them and learn from our basin approach and try to developing something like urban river management plans. So we are trying to pick up from so many of these ideas and then try to inculcate that. So it will be very nice if this rainwater harvesting campaign, and then the campaign name is really good. It really catches people's attention where it falls and when it falls. So I think that's the crux of it. And that actually explains with your this slogan. I was trying to explain environmental flow determination to the group in Bihar in the morning. Just environmental flow also is different as per the time and as per the place. So it cannot be same for the entire Ganga. So it has to change, like the rain, where it falls and when it falls. Similarly, you have to look at the water, when it flows and where it flows, and then look at the environmental flow determination. So it's very, very nice idea. We have so many other people to contribute and give, but I thought I got quite motivated with your campaign, and then our Ganga Basin, all these Ganga Prahari, WII, NYK volunteers, we have told all of them, we are giving them creatives to go around, really motivate people, and ultimately the challenge lies in water management, and this will certainly fill a very important area, very important gap in the overall integrated water management, which actually Niti Aayog last 2 years back, they actually set that whole discussion in motion by bringing the composite water management index and grading different states. So various things are happening. Now this year Namami Ganga is included in Prime Minister's award for excellence in public administration, and in that actually we have included so many categories, so many evaluation criteria for the district magistrates. And I am talking to the district Ganga committee in a smaller group of 5 to 7 DMs in one and a half hour. It's so much motivating. I'm talking there also. So one of the reason is basically conservation of water is one part of that. Protection of water body in their districts, what's happening, smaller river rejuvenation. So all these things are going into, through even that award will motivate district magistrates to work. And today it's limited number of districts in the Ganga basin for this year, but next year we'll expand it to the entire basin, which will be 11 states. So certainly it will motivate people, and I see a lot of positivity, I see a lot of response, and I'm quite hopeful that if all of us put together and those who are participating in this conference, they take this forward on their own in their institutions and give us suggestions, etc. We would be really happy to take them along and then carry it forward. Thank you.
Thanks, I think yeah, my mic was with some problem. Thanks, Rajiv Ranjan Mishra, Director General Namami Gange, Minister of Jal Shakti, Government of India. Thanks a lot for sharing your valuable insights with a person with vast experience. And you just said and spoke as if that you're talking about some normal things of life, and it shows how much knowledge you have, how much pragmatic approach you have towards this issues. As we have said that, challenge is water management, and integrated approach is the need of the hour. Government is already working on that, and that's why we have given the name of this conference Global Water Management Conclave, to bring best of the minds together to discuss and deliberate on various aspects of water management. And we have kept a special session on rainwater harvesting, and that for catch the rain. I think with G. Ashok sir, Rajiv Mishra sir, the way you guys have spoke, and so many viewers are there on with us, they'll be doing their bit also to make the catch the rain campaign a success. I'm sure about that. With this, we move to Shri Avinash Mishra, Advisor Water, Niti Aayog Government of India.
Thank you
Your
very
thought.
much and good afternoon to everybody. See, before actually moving this global water management conclave, I would like to emphasize the importance of the water. Globally, if we see 1.5 billion people are employed in water related industry directly or through some natural resource industry. So this is the type or the economic value what the water is actually playing in our lives. Rather, I will say from the ancient time, if you will see the various civilizations it has come up and various cities it has developed, whether it is London on Thames, Budapest, Lahore, New Delhi, Cairo, Dresden, and civilization, those have flourished either on Indus Valley or Mesopotamia or on Nile, Tigris or Yellow River in China. You will find that all these civilizations have come up only because of the proximity of the water and water was the source. So we can certainly say without the water, the life is going to be a big problem. Now let us compare the two scenarios which I generally used to do. The scenario one where we are using the water in India and scenario two where we are using the water in China. The total quantum of water is 700 BCM in both the countries, but the production of industrial development and the industrial goods those are coming out from both the country are different. The agriculture productivity is also much higher in China than in India. The drinking water facilities and all other is also much better in China. That shows that certainly the management part is the vital which needs to be looked into in the new changing global scenario, and particularly after the COVID-19 we need to be really more concerned with the management of water. I have cited this example at one or two places, but one could really contain the spread of pandemic, spread of the corona because of the regions of the ample water availability in the one. One is called the Lake of Cities, and there is some 100 lakes in and around the one, which is really governing the total the the sanitation level and the hygiene level in the city. So the water is playing a vital role. If we say otherwise, then some 1.1 billion people worldwide lack access to water, and 2.7 billion find water scarce for at least 1 month for the year. This is I am talking in the global context. 2 million people, and that to mostly children, die each year from diarrheal disease alone. If this continues, then by 2025, we will find that two-thirds of the world population may face water shortages. If we see the ancient India, then in ancient India, the civilization has not come up only on the rivers, but it has come up off the rivers. And if you see the complete southern India, we could really create lot of tanks, lot of storages, lot of ponds, lot of lakes and boweries. Those are called stepped or open wells. Those were the structures where the rainwater is being harvested regularly, and the water was in a manner which was contained there only, and it is in self-sufficiency. Today also, we need to catch the rain wherever it falls. I'll say the total requirement now in the country lies majorly and why to country, but I was seeing the example of other part of the world, the globally, to really contain the rain wherever it falls. I know the example of Netherlands, where the Netherlands could really struggled for flood for many years, but thereafter when there was a room for the river, when the rivers were widened when the water was allowed to really get spread as much as it can, whether they could create the floating houses or whatever, then only the menace of flood can be controlled. Similar way, we need to really start living with water, and we need to really see the optimum use of water. And the water, which is very essential in India in terms of the catering such a big population in food self-sufficiency, in hygiene development, in maintaining the hygiene, in providing the drinking water supply, and for industrial development, that we need to create the all micro storage based on micro watershed on each and every place. In India, the tradition shows there used to be three systems of containing the rainwater. One was a tank used to be created for catering the requirement of the drinking water. Another used to be the tank which used to cater the requirement of agriculture water. And third was for ablution and all other. Unfortunately, all these tanks system, they have been dismantled, or it has been encroached, or it has been converted into dump yard. So it's high time. While we need to really revive them, we need to really rejuvenate them. The other thing which we are majorly experiencing in our urban cities, and particularly through the rainwater harvesting structures, what has been created, there is a norm. There is a norm with almost all the civic bodies that if a plot size is more than 100 square meter, then they will have a rainwater harvesting structure. But to my surprise, while I could see through many practical way, the rainwater harvesting structure would be successful if through a filter media, if through a shaft, it is connected with the water table below. But it has not happened. In majority of the time, there is no filter media, and if there is some filter media, this is not going and leading up to water table, but it is getting ended somewhere else on the upper side. As a result, we are not getting that optimum benefit of rainwater harvesting. So certainly for rainwater harvesting, we need to have some sort of chartered engineers or chartered geologists. Somebody like this should be really be included in the urban local bodies, the role. So they should be actually, they should see how the development process happens. If we see the urban water supply part, then also in urban water supply, instead of supplying and bringing the water from far off places, it is better to introduce the two pipe system, or it is better to introduce, recycle the wastewater and reuse it for the secondary purposes. That is not being happening. So what is happening? All through long distances, we are transferring the fresh water, and thereafter we are generating the wastewater, and that wastewater also 37% only gets collected in our sewerage system or in our wastewater system. The rest 63% goes in the freshwater bodies and contaminating the river, contaminating the groundwater, and contaminating the water bodies whichever is there, which has not been encroached. So instead of that, the fresh water, if it is supplied, it should be treated, the wastewater should be treated in situ, and there are many secondary uses, right up to industrial use, the commercial uses, there it should be provided. So this is one very important thing to be done. Another thing which has been already touched by Mr. Ashok Kumar, that we have paved our cities, and we are very happy in paving the city. We don't go in a checkered paving where we can pave one patch, 1 square feet patch, and leave open another 1 square feet patch. I remember with great difficulty the complete trunk portion of a tree has been with this up to a decision by the Supreme Court. It has been told that it should be really remained open for that particular tree to draw the water. So this is the position. Even the water is not percolating down to support the vegetation in the urban cities. So this is the type of the pavement we have carried out in all through all our urban cities on the names of modernization. So that needs to be really looked into in a major way. The other important part is this, that there should be price tag in our industries. I'll just give an example. In our industry, for an industrial development to happen, we need water. But today the water is consumed 89% by agriculture sector, and hardly there remains 11% of water. That also is not sufficiently being provided, or it is with a skewed development, with a skewed distribution, it is being provided to the urban area and to the population, that to 6 to 7%. So finally, a very less quantum of water is available for ecology, and very less quantum is water is available for industry. So there should be a price tag. There should be a price tag for the water, whether it is for the agriculture sector, or it is for the drinking water sector, or it is for the industrial sector. If we see the other way, the efficiency part, if we can introduce the price tag, certainly the efficiency will improve. Today, the efficiency is 38 to 40% in agriculture sector. It means that 60 to 70% water we are just allowing it to lose. And if we compare our this efficiency with globally, then it is being achieved 50 to 60% or 55 to 65%. So somewhere we are lacking in a major way here. If we see the industrial efficiency, there we are consuming 300, 400% more water than what it should be. So this is again an area where we need to see globally what measures we need to opt, and also there we need to have a proper price mechanism. So these are the, if you see drinking water, then again transmission and distribution losses in our urban local bodies, it ranges from 40 to 70%. We have not yet introduced the smart meters. We need to really introduce the smart meter, and those smart meter with a proper mechanism of 24/7 water supply, that is gradually being introduced, but it needs to be introduced in a major portion. So if as a consumer I am consuming something, I must pay for it, whether it is agriculture consumer, whether it is a industrial consumer, or whether it is a domestic consumer. There should not be a cross subsidy. The similar thing we are facing even in case of the electricity power. There again the cross subsidy is there. If we really want to move ahead on a $5 trillion economy, or the better economy, whatever we can achieve, maybe because of the corona pandemic, that $5 trillion may take one more year to get it, but certainly we need to think of the cross subsidies should come to an end, and we should really concern with the optimum utilization. And with the example of China, we can simply understand there's no more capacity creation is needed, rather capacity optimization is needed, rather the efficiency improvement is needed, rather the water management part is needed. Now actually with artificial intelligence in picture, already the machine language, and with all the GIS network, all water resource management can be better managed, can have a better thing. So I think we need to really move in that direction. And in Niti Aayog, certainly trying to move in that direction, and I'm trying to really manage the see the water management part at district level on GIS platform, and to see how they are managing their water bodies, and to see how they are managing their rural water supply, and to see how they are actually recharging their groundwater. So what is the change in the level of water from one season to other season? So that I am trying to do, and most probably we will come out with another such set of data and all recordings in the coming 4 to 5 months. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Avinash Mishra, Advisor, Water, Niti Aayog, Government of India. If I take one line of what you have said for last 15 minutes, very important points you have touched on. But the last part, when you have said that it's important to, it's not only important to build new capacity, but optimally using what we have. I think that's very important. I think for water management, that will be very important. And same goes for rainwater harvesting. And I think whoever is listening to this broadcast, be it in state government, be it in district level, be it in central government, be it industry, be it NGOs, be it RWS, they will be also doing their bit for making Kazarine campaign a success, not only for someone else, but for them, because someone else, Rajiv Ranjan Mishra sir said in the beginning that someone said in the uh, earlier session, I think it was Mr. A. Vikram Raja from Puducherry, who said that the success of his model was that he ensured that it is not his water, it is my water. So that ownership we all have to take as citizen to make Catch the Rain campaign a success, rainwater harvesting a success model in India. And as Rajiv Ranjan Mishra sir was saying that India and Netherlands have been collaborating in water sector for many years now, especially for technology innovation. And we have a special guest from Netherlands. I welcome Mr. John Lievenberg, Global Product Manager and Commercial Director, Water Office, Real World System, Netherlands. Thanks for joining us, John.
Thank you for allowing me to present here. Welcome, everyone. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share my screen because I have a shared screen. This one. So you'll probably see each other. And what I'm going to do is bring up this. Hopefully you see my PowerPoint presentation.
I think you have to switch on the screen sharing option.
I did.
It is not yet come. The moment you switch on the screen sharing option, it will come to our screen as well.
It says, for me, stop sharing. So I'm assuming it's sharing.
No, it has not come yet, but you can start your presentation maybe when the screen sharing option. Now it has come, I guess.
Okay, well,
yeah, now it has come. But no, I think there's some problem. Yeah, it has come. Yeah, great. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to present at this particular conference, virtual conference. I've had 4 days of virtual conference in this past week, so it's been very, very busy on the laptop with different conferences. So I wanted to talk a little bit about facing the challenge of water conservation, and it's quite interesting how everybody talks about all the different aspects. And I kind of, back up, page up. So I kind of picked up a lot of those, and I mentioned them here, that you have the scarcity of water resources, you have the challenge of reducing non-revenue water, facilitating rainwater catchment, energy management. I'm actually quite surprised that not too many people have discussed that. The ability for asset management, the implications of climate change, standardization, which I want to get into a little bit, water as a market for the future. I mean, everybody needs water, and we want water for everyone. So everyone should be responsible for it. And that means there should be a continuous supply, qualitative supply, quantitative supply, and it must be affordable. So when we take a look at the water industry, we can see that we have a whole lot of assets that are responsible for water supply, for drainage, for stormwater network, but we also have the groundwater, the surface water, irrigation, those types of things that need to be taken into account. And it's quite interesting that many people have mentioned it, and this is how I like to present it, is we want to have a holistic approach to water from source to tap and return. And quite often it's too much to bite off all in one shot. We often get involved with projects, whether they're in Australia or in the Netherlands or in Germany or even in India. You pick a certain piece that is going to give you an expected return, an immediate return. And then what you do is you can plug and play, or you build on top of that on a per module basis. We found that projects that include everything is too much. It just becomes way too much. So pick what you want. And in this particular instance, I talked about non-revenue water. Well, that fits in the water supply perspective. Water catchment, that fits in the drainage storm environment. I'm actually going to focus a little bit on the groundwater surface water piece. And in that respect, I want to talk a little bit about the data. One of the biggest reasons for failure of projects is because of lack of data, whether it's quality data or the quantity of data. And it's a very, very important aspect to the success of any solution. And I'm not even promoting my solution. As a project, you need to look at the data. And very often we find that data is in silos, or it's just not available, or if there is some data there, the quality of the data is not very good. But we help in that capacity, because ultimately what we do is we take data from all different sources. And when you take data from all different sources and you put it into a single source of truth, you end up with a robust database that is an industry standard data model. And that allows you to start doing an awful lot of analysis and evaluations and the ability to make decisions for example, groundwater management, what are the areas that you want to recharge? What are the areas you do not want to recharge? Can you use that rainwater as described by the previous speaker? Those are things that all need to be taken into account as to what is the goal that you're trying to achieve with that data. And we find that that's a really important thing, because no matter how innovative we are with our software or with our projects or whatnot, without good data, we can't get to that next innovative step. We need to keep moving forward. So when you take a look at groundwater data management cycle, you have an acquisition, a management, validation, analysis, and reporting. And each of these have a unique process and a unique environment to supporting the groundwater management. And once you do that, based on this extensive data model, regardless as to whether it's groundwater water quality or groundwater levels or bore profiles or bore information, piezometers, whatever you've got, loggers, that's all taken into account. And you want to get to a result. And a result is what is, for example, the groundwater quality degradation analysis. And these are types of analyses that you can do to say, okay, if we've got this, what decisions do we need to make based on this information? Obviously, the more and the better data that you have, the better decisions you're going to be able to make in the future. Another one is overexploitation. That was one that I just heard today. Where can we actually extract that data, that water? Is that water resource available? So there are tools and mechanisms out there to help you facilitate a good decision-making process. Another one is bore profiles, looking at things that in a 3D capacity, or understanding the geological layers that are involved and what you have to deal with in terms of getting the proper data and thus making the proper decisions. And one of the things I wanted to mention was the fact that we had standardized on a standard data model that we worked together with the Dutch government, with the German government, with the Australian government, even with some of the Indian government, to developing a standard data model that allows everyone to use those standards and the same mechanisms so that they understand the same thing. Sometimes you're going to want different results or different reports, and that's fine, but the source data must be available and must be in a good standard. So one of the things that you can do is we can validate that data. We have a mechanism to accept millions of readings from data loggers and so forth, be able to validate that data, and then be able to analyze that data accordingly. We do a water quality validation. Obviously, the different groundwater levels will provide you a different composition of that water. That will also identify how it needs to be cleaned, because you may not want to extract water from an area that requires a tremendous amount of treatment, whereas clean water, such as rainwater, for example, might be a lot easier to deal with. And having catchments and dealing with that could be an alternative in this fashion. So there's a number of different reporting mechanisms that people require. We've done a whole bunch of different kinds, from bore profiles, reporting to the government, and so forth. We've had an awful lot of experience in that industry. And like I said, I'm only just focusing on the groundwater piece. And how you want to manage that as a resource. Where can you extract that data, or that water? Where can you not extract that water from? So the conclusion is that data quality and data quantity is a prerequisite. Please ensure that you have good data. If you need help with that, contact us. We can help with that. Managing groundwater is key to water conservation efforts. And it is absolutely the case, but it is not the only issue. You have non-revenue water. What are your demand levels? You have aquifers. What is available there? You have rainwater networks, especially here in the Netherlands. We have a specific stormwater network that collects rainwater and then processes that differently than sewer water. We make groundwater visible. That was one of the big issues that was discussed in the previous presentation. How can you make it visible? What's going on with it? Well, if you can do the proper data acquisition and ingestion, you can make it visible, and then you can make the steps towards resiliency and sustainability. So that is really quickly 10-minute my presentation. I didn't want to take too much time. I only focused on one piece of it. If anybody wants to contact me, by all means, I would be more than happy to discuss how we can assist. We've had different implementations with different projects in all different types of countries, dealing with drought, arid conditions, with wet conditions. Interestingly enough, here in the Netherlands in the spring, we had a drought condition for 3 months that really affected the groundwater tables, and they started taking actions based on what was going on, what you could consume. And now that we've had some rain in the past month and a half, those groundwater tables are starting to come back up to normal again. But we still have to be very careful, because we could end up in that situation once again. So I'd like to thank all of the people. Let me stop sharing. Exit. Did I stop sharing? Yes. I want to thank everyone. I hope that it was informative, that what we were describing, the experience that we've had with various water management organizations, whether it be water distribution, whether it be drainage, whether it be irrigation, whether it be hydrologists for groundwater, for surface water. We're here to help. We want to assist. And if we can, by all means, thank you.
Thanks, John Leeuwenberg, joining us from Netherlands. I think he has touched on a very important aspect, that is technology innovation. And when we talk about technology innovation, data is the prerequisite. I think policymakers were sitting here and the experts sitting here from Government of India and various state governments who are part of this conference will be taking note of this. And he said that uh, it's to make water management more efficient, we need to efficiently manage data and correct data. I think that's very important. Thanks, John Lundberg, for shedding some light on that. With this, we come to a very important part of the special session on catch the rain rainwater harvesting. We have a special guest with us from Hyderabad, who's known for her work for water sector, rainwater sector. Let me introduce Kalpana Ramesh, known as the Water Warrior, the Rainwater Project Hyderabad. We welcome you, Ms. Kalpana Ramesh. And before we heard her story and what she is doing, we have a small initiative to be launched by, it's called Blue Hyderabad Initiative. So can we officially launch Blue Hyderabad Initiative by Kalpana Ramesh, by all the eminent dignitaries who are part of this session?
Due to rapid urbanization and contamination of our water resources, the situation is alarming. Niti Aayog says Hyderabad is one of the 21 cities running out of groundwater by 2020, and that's now. Resource depletion, urbanization, and contamination are the main causes for the current situation. Groundwater accounts for irrigation needs, rural and urban water needs. With urban flooding, over extraction of groundwater, and being a tanker driven city, Hyderabad's groundwater is drying up. Sustainability is a major challenge now. 60% of our water consumption needs can be met annually by collecting rooftop rainwater. Blue Hyderabad campaign by the Rainwater Project is in collaboration with GHMC, the Water Board, and the Telangana Groundwater Department to focus on improving groundwater levels in the city with rainwater harvesting block by block.
And there is a lot of scope for rainwater to be harvested because a lot of forest species are available and new saturated zone is available. Every citizen of this Hyderabad, they have to participate.
Our aim is to improve the groundwater levels in all the 98 blocks in the city, harvesting every drop of rainwater with communities, corporates, and the government. We have started to construct rainwater harvesting structures in common areas in communities, parks, and other public spaces. We plan to connect with communities, create awareness among school children, and train younger minds towards water stewardship.
The whole student community of 3,000 strength, along with the extended family members, the staff, the ground staff, everybody is into this Blue Hyderabad and the rainwater harvesting project.
We thank the National Water Mission to make us part of the Catch the Rain campaign. Catch the rain where it falls, when it falls. Let's together create a secure water future.
I support Blue Hyderabad.
I support Blue Hyderabad.
I support Blue Hyderabad.
Blue Hyderabad.
Blue Hyderabad. Blue Hyderabad. Blue Hyderabad. Blue Hyderabad.
Blue Hyderabad.
Blue Hyderabad.
Blue Hyderabad.
Blue Hyderabad.
Blue Hyderabad.
Blue Hyderabad.
That's great. That's the official launch of the Blue Hyderabad project, an initiative by Kalpana Ramesh, the Water Warrior, and the founder of Rainwater Project. I think if I take a cue from what Ms. Kalpana has said in her video, Blue Hyderabad, I think taking the message of Blue Hyderabad, we can surely work for Blue India as well, for rainwater harvesting and catch the rain campaign. I just asked Kalpana Ramesh to say a few words on the rainwater harvesting and her project and her contribution for Catch the Rain campaign. Kalpana Ramesh.
Thank you, Swamiji, and it gives me so much pleasure, and it's truly humbling to be part of this esteemed panel, and so much of learnings all day today through several sessions. So I started off with a sustainable home, and then a sustainable community. We started doing rainwater harvesting projects across the city, and also started conserving a lake because lakes are the largest catchment for rainwater today. While doing this, we realized that it's only a piecemeal job if you're going all across the city. So we decided to divide the city into 98 micro watersheds and started focused, concerted effort for a city-wide approach. So because we don't have much time to replenish our groundwater, and people, though they are aware, there's a huge gap between awareness and implementation. So we thought we should work innovatively to make this happen. So I went and approached CSR grants, and HDFC was, willing to give us this grant to do rainwater harvesting structures in common areas. So we started with identifying the block, and John, you've given us very good information on how to capture data, and we did it in a very small way, in the sense we did scientifically map this block that we are working on, and we divided into 4 different zones: flooding zone, critical zone, and confined aquifers zone, and a green zone. So for 4 different zones, we have different interventions to take care of, and we started by doing 40 different rainwater harvesting structures, working with communities, schools, temples, institutions. Triple IT Hyderabad is also part of this block that we are working with. We started conserving 2 lakes, and we built communities of more than 30,000 people around each of this lake. So that community building has helped us percolate into communities to talk about rainwater harvesting. And we're not just talking rainwater harvesting, but also a healthy watershed. So we're talking about no garbage in the lake. So we've started with trash guards in the lakes. You won't believe the last few rains has got almost 1 ton of trash in just one lake. So these are things we capture and showcase people that this is important to protect our water bodies and to protect our. So there are many wells which are not getting attention, so we are also restoring wells. So everything that is water in this one block will become a replicable model, not just for the city, but I hope for the country as well, where it becomes a people's movement. You can see, you saw in the video that schools have taken part. Schools have contributed for common area, rainwater structures too. I urge the government to also look up the flyovers and the metros, the huge amount of water that comes from that. They can be restored and taken into ground, because this is clean water. The moment it falls on the road, it's mixed with sewage. But what comes from these metros and stuff should be taken up. And also, we are working with parks becoming rainwater harvesting zones. We're making all the parks, we've already done in a couple of parks where we have communities come in with us, and we've done rainwater harvesting structures there. So everyone that has a rooftop, schools, institutions, corporates, hotels, everyone has to come and become part of this game is our aim. And hopefully we get that. The 10 square kilometer stretch, we have worked on a 3 square kilometer stretch. We still have to cover 7 square kilometer, but I'm very, very positive that we've may put those thinking caps on with people, and communities are coming forward. And while working on this one zone, there are many parts, other parts of the city who are already calling us and inquiring us about this project, and how to participate and how to make it happen in their own zones. So for 98 zones, we probably have to pick 98 different people that can lead this initiative across the city, because we need a lot of people. And we see a lot of attention because there's many lakes, step wells, which are heritage step wells. There are wells which were our lifelines, which are just dump yards today. So creating a healthy watershed is Blue Hyderabad, and I hope we'll put this as an a very profound example for all the citizens of this country to follow, because it's collective action and a city-wide approach. Thank you so much for this opportunity, APAC and the National Water discussion and Namami Gange and the Jal Shakti also. Thank you, Ashok sir.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
thanks,
Yeah.
Kalpana. I'm very happy to see that because you have now become Blue Hyderabad. I just show you this is green. We had an initiative called Green Hyderabad, and we did a restoration of the lake. This is the Safalguda Lake,
Yes, yes,
which
yes,
we have
yes.
restored. And when I was Vice Chairman Huda, but many years back, I don't know whether they still retain, 2004 it was, we had identified about 169 lakes and did lot of restoration, Safalguda, Sarur Nagar, Langar House, AS Rao Nagar, and lot of lakes were restored, and many of them have been converted into parks. Very happy that we have changed the color from green to blue, but it is uh, anyway. What matters is whether the water is conserved, and I appreciate your tenacity and your perseverance, and it is a very difficult to get the people together. Rainwater, Hyderabad has excellent graded community. Rajiv sir knows also. He was also looking into irrigation in the state, so very well associated with the water program. So in the urban sector in Hyderabad, I was associated with the urban planning as well as in the urban water in the water board. So we had campaigns called for putting the water back to bore, to put back the water into bore and all these things. But what happened back to bore? So all these requires sustenance and people's involvement. So that's where you come in. You come in. You have brought in the citizens together. You have brought the school students together. Very nice. I appreciate, and I wish all the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And like Avinash Mishra ji mentioned, the subsidies right now on the pipe supply is huge. And the moment we reduce it, I'm sure people will look at alternate resources and start preserving our groundwater, just like what happened with people moving from power to solar, right? So this shift will happen if we reduce the subsidies on municipal water. I think, it's just a request. If that can happen, we'll make a big change.
That's what it is required. But I would like to just know from Madam Kalpana, are you also monitoring the groundwater level? Because the
Yes, sir.
Hyderabad, because that is very essential. And if you are monitoring, kindly share your data with me, because as we have written that Hyderabad will run out of the water. It was not that Hyderabad is having 400% the groundwater extraction than what it get recharged every year. So that is the concern there.
Drinking water in Hyderabad will not be affected because Hyderabad gets drinking water from surface water. Three sources lines have been drawn from Krishna. The Krishna phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 2 during my period we got it. And
our that statement of 400% rainwater, it is concerned with that particular
groundwater.
place.
Drinking
It
water
is not concerned that what imported water we are getting. For that matter, Delhi is certainly having all imports from UP and Himachal and from all places. So imported water you can always have. Chennai is having the desalinated water, but certainly the sustainability should come well within what you are actually saying. Catch the rain where it falls, where it falls. So I am going. Okay. Anyway.
So, Avinash, I think you are right in pointing out that we should find local solution. But what happens, place like Hyderabad, it is such a big city. So for their water security, they have actually tried to bring water from far off. And that is something actually is happening more frequently. And in the long run, we should aim that we should find water locally and we don't have to transport water. Now Agra has sanctioned a huge water supply project. And Agra, which is on the bank of Yamuna, is getting Ganga water. Actually, they perhaps at the short run they don't have an option, but actually this is something which is not a very desirable thing. But yes, somehow, Kalpana, a lot of congratulations for doing such a good work. Somehow in this panel there are many people from Hyderabad, me, Ashok, and you. So Hyderabad biased panel ho gaya hai. But it's okay. And what Ashok objected, actually blue will bring green. So blue and green will do it together. So if you make blue Hyderabad, it will automatically become green Hyderabad. Okay. So, moderators.
Yeah.
Sangeeta?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
So we believe that we are
Am
at
I
the close
audible
of
to
the
all?
session.
Is Sangamita audible to all?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
I
Yeah, I
think
think
so.
there was
Sir, am I
some
audible?
problem with the internet.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So I have been joined by Sangamitra Mohanty and Gopi Krishna Arora. So the three of us have co-founded APEC Digital News Network a month back. Our aim is to we are positioning ourselves as a knowledge consulting, community building, media research organization, and we are quite honored to have conducted the first edition of Global Water Management Conclave in association with Ministry of Jal Shakti, National Water Mission, Namami Gange Government of India. We are thankful to G. Ashok Kumar sir, Rajiv Ranjan Mishra sir, UP Singh sir, Secretary Minister of Jal Shakti, and Avinash Mishra sir for collaborating with us not only for Global Water Management Conclave but also giving us the responsibility of making Catering campaign a success in digital mode. Thanks a lot for that. With this, we conclude the first edition of 4-part series of Global Water Management Conclave. From inaugural till end, we had insightful discussion, enlightening discussion, and we all learn from each and every session what is to be done, what needs to be done, what is left to be done. And I think if I take the crux of entire day's discussion, what remains to be done, or it is already being done, but what needs to be more done. One is community participation, citizen participation, and using technology and innovation more and more to manage water in an effective way. With this, I'd like to end the first edition of Global Global Water Management Conclave. The first edition of first edition of 4-part series. We'll be doing our next edition in September, and then in September 2021. So I, along with Sangamitra Mohanty and Gopi Krishna Arora, would like to thank all of the eminent panelists who are part of this panel. Also John, who has joined us from Netherlands, and also all the panelists and speakers who have joined from various parts of India, various parts of the world, policymakers, thought leaders, global experts, NGOs, industry leaders who have been part of this APEC Presents Global Water Management Conclave in association with Ministry of Jal Shakti, the National Water Mission, and Namami Gange. It was supported by MP Jal Nigam, Delhi Jal Board, Almora District Administration. Water infrastructure partner was TCIPL. International partners were Netherlands and Israel, and also USTDA, United States Trade Development Agency. Also, we had supporting partners like WaterAid, Arghyam, Innovent, and FIVAR. I thank you all. Before I conclude, I'd like to request all of you to join us in the month of August, 27th and 28th August. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said, that it's time for local for vocal, keeping in mind and realizing that we are organizing local healthcare conclave in the month of August, 27th and 20th August. The tagline of this conclave is taking India healthcare innovation to global arena, because we believe in the power of innovation, Indian innovation, and it's time for India to arrive in the global stage in healthcare. So local healthcare conclave on 27th and 28th of August. First day entirely will be dedicated on startup and innovators, where healthcare startup and innovators will come and showcase the innovation. Second day, we'll have discussion on policy making, healthcare innovation, hospital infrastructure, hospital management, technology, and global collaborations. I again request all of you to join on 27th and 20th August in APEC Local Healthcare Conclave, and also tune in the month of September for the second edition of Global Water Management Conclave. Thank you all. Let's make Catering campaign a success. Let's make rainwater harvesting in India a success. And let's, as taking cue from here, Blue Hyderabad, let's make it Blue India. Thanks a lot. See you there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kalpana.
Thank you, Sangamitra.
Thank you,
Thank
Rajesh,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Kalpana, for joining us. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.